I've seen pictures on Facebook of people with last chemo badges and celebrating last chemo and things like that. And certainly when I finished my treatment, I didn't really feel like that. I had some quite complicated and long-standing treatment. And so I kind of learned that actually getting to the end of treatment was just another step on the journey. Weirdly, and I certainly hadn't expected this, I kind of almost missed some of, not treatment, but the routine of going into hospital and seeing my team who'd been so wonderfully supportive and in many ways had become like friends. When I was first diagnosed, I was shocked and humbled by the number of letters of support that I received, by the cards, by the well wishes from places that I'd never expected to receive them, from people who I thought had forgotten about me many years ago. But obviously this can only last for so long, and eventually people have to get back to their normal lives. And when I stopped treatment, people went back to work. I went back to seeing my friends with the kind of normal frequency. It's not that people don't care about you anymore, but it's, you know, that level of intensity and care can't last forever. And there was a sense of loss, I think, for all that kind of special treatment that I'd had from my loved ones. I found actually having the time after the transplant, it did give me time to kind of explore those things that you always promise yourself you're going to do, but then you never have time to do around a busy working life. I'm a history teacher, so I have a real interest in history, and slightly sad to say it as a 30-year-old, but I love the National Trust. I spent 6 months volunteering for the National Trust, and it was really nice to kind of like have that experience of having a bit of a routine, doing something that felt like you were giving something back to the community as well, which was really nice after spending so long feeling like people were helping you. Being able to help other people was a really nice thing. One of my favourite things about ending treatment was I had all my lines removed, and it meant that I could get back into the water, which I'd really, really missed. I'm a very keen sailor, and I enjoy swimming, and I've just got myself a stand-up paddleboard. And so being able to be in the water again was amazing. It's a strange kind of thing going back to work, because particularly after 2.5 years away, I never thought I'd say this, but I really missed work. You really miss normality. You know, you go to parties and people ask you what you do, and it's suddenly really awkward because maybe actually you don't want to talk about your cancer that evening. Since my lymphoma diagnosis, it's weird to say that there have been silver linings. Most obviously, perhaps, I've learnt that I look really great with short hair. I'd always had long hair before, and cutting off my hair was one of those things I'd always wanted to do, but I was too scared to do. So that was the first and most obvious silver lining. But I think it reaffirmed the importance of friends and family, hugely so. Like, I was so humbled by the response of everybody in my support network, and there is not a single relationship in my life that hasn't been strengthened by my lymphoma diagnosis. I probably see my medical team once every couple of months. I was at a pretty advanced stage when my cancer was diagnosed, and I've had treatment for a long time, so the thought that it may come back is never far from my mind. I think the hardest thing that I find is that my capacity to deal with anxiety, general day-to-day anxiety, is more compromised than other people's, because I've always got this background level of anxiety that some people don't have to deal with. So I'm carrying around a constant kind of background level of worry. The difficult thing, I think, is after a diagnosis of cancer, you will always have had a diagnosis of cancer. It will always be part of you, but it is not you. It is a part of you, but it is not you. And I think that was the thing I initially really struggled with, how cancer fitted into my identity. And I think to begin with, when I was so very ill and the treatment was so very intense, I felt a little bit like I had become a cancer patient and that was me. I now understand that I've had cancer. That is a part of me, but a very small and, compared to all the other parts of me, relatively uninteresting part of me. I think for me, mentally and physically, a really great way to keep in shape is to go walking or running. It's a really liberating thing, actually. Nobody's asking you any questions, and you're very in the moment because your biggest concern is stopping so that you can stop the stitch in your side. Your biggest concern is not like when your cancer's going to come back, when you're next going to hospital, who's done whatever. It can lock you in the moment, which is really, really healthy, I think. In terms of mental health, I have become much stricter with myself in terms of making sure that I, create and save time for positive things. So being a teacher, work can very easily spill over into your home life. You can take marking home, you can take planning home, you can let it become an all-encompassing job. And I'm not going to let it take over my life. So I always make sure that I have at least one day completely free at the weekend. And living after lymphoma, I've really learned that you do have to just, enjoy the present. Like, it's going to sound terribly cliched to say it, but make the most out of every day. Feel incredibly lucky that you are, still here and still enjoying your life. That's a great, great thing.